Imagine a place of absolute, ancient silence. Picture massive glaciers glowing under a surreal 24-hour sun, frozen oceans stretching out quite literally as far as the eye can see, and softly drifting snow that has never been touched by human civilization. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into the breathtaking setting of Tishani Doshi's profound travelogue, Journey to the End of the Earth, which is such a vital chapter in your Class 12 English syllabus. We are going to explore a place that holds the very history of our planet locked right inside its ice. So here's a massive question for you to think about. Can the coldest, driest, and honestly windiest continent on Earth actually teach humanity how to save its own future? You see, in this chapter, the author's unforgettable voyage to Antarctica isn't just your standard travel story, not at all. It's a powerful lesson that reveals Earth's deep geological history. It confronts us with the stark, unavoidable realities of climate change, and it beautifully illustrates our delicate connection to nature. Now, before we officially set sail on this icy expedition, just a quick reminder. If you're finding this visual breakdown helpful for your board exam prep, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the ACE Archive. We're dedicated to bringing you lots more comprehensive, visually guided CBSE English explainers exactly like this one. All right, let's quickly look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover Journey to the End, the history of Gondwana, tracing the human impact, the Students on Ice expedition, the phytoplankton metaphor, and finally, what it means to be walking on the ocean. Part 1, Journey to the End, traveling to the bottom of the world. So, Tishani Doshi's journey begins in the sweltering heat of Madras, 13.09 degrees north of the equator, and to reach the expansive white landscape of Antarctica, it took her a grueling 100 hours of travel. We're talking cars, airplanes, and a ship. She crossed 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and just as many ecospheres. This wasn't merely a trip, it was a full-on transition into an entirely different world. She was traveling aboard this Russian research vessel called the Academic Shokolskaya. And when she finally set foot on the continent, just facing that wide, uninterrupted blue horizon, her very first emotion was just profound relief, which was quickly followed by absolute wonder. She describes completely losing all earthly sense of perspective. I mean, stepping into a place totally devoid of human markers, no trees, no billboards, no buildings anywhere. It felt, as she put it, like walking into a giant ping pong ball. Moving right along to part 2. The History of Gondwana, a Journey Back in Time. Okay, to truly understand Antarctica, we have to force ourselves to look at the macro scale of geological history. We have to rewind the clock big time. 650 million years ago, India and Antarctica were actually part of the exact same landmass, a giant southern supercontinent called Gondwana. For 500 million years, this place thrived in a much warmer climate, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. But then, about 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs were wiped out and the landmass was forced to separate. Just imagine the mind-boggling geological forces at play here. India pushing northwards, jamming against Asia to form the mighty Himalayas. Meanwhile, South America drifted off to join North America, which opened up the Drake Passage. And that created this cold circumpolar current that left Antarctica frigid, desolate, and trapped at the very bottom of the world. So, to visit Antarctica today is to physically grasp exactly where we came from. Part 3, Tracing the Human Impact, a few seconds on the geological clock. Now we have to talk about the human interruption in this majestic ancient story. When you consider Earth's immense geological history, human civilizations have been around for a paltry 12,000 years. That is literally barely a few seconds on the geological clock. Yet, in that incredibly brief flash of time, we have fundamentally altered the entire balance of the planet. We've created quite a ruckus, haven't we? We have aggressively etched our dominance over nature, replacing pristine, untouched landscapes with villages, towns, cities, and sprawling megacities. The rapid explosion of human populations has left us constantly battling with other species for limited, dwindling resources. We've imposed our heavy footprint on a world that existed in perfect harmony for millions of years before we even showed up. And the consequences? Well, they're severe. The unmitigated burning of fossil fuels has wrapped a thick, suffocating blanket of carbon dioxide right around the world, slowly but surely driving up average global temperatures. Climate change is undeniably the most hotly contested environmental debate of our time. Will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt entirely? Will the Gulf Stream be disrupted? Antarctica is absolutely crucial in this debate, not just because it's the only place that's never sustained a human population, but because deep down within its ice cores, it holds half-million-year-old carbon records. If we want to study the Earth's past, present, and future, Antarctica is quite literally the only place to go. Which brings us to Part 4, Students on Ice Expedition, Empowering the Future. So what on earth do we actually do about this massive global issue? Well, the author traveled with a brilliant program called Students on Ice, headed by Canadian Geoff Green. Geoff basically got tired of carting retired, rich curiosity seekers to the ends of the Earth, people who could really only give back in a limited way. So he flipped the script. He decided to take high school students instead. Why? Because these teenagers are future policymakers. Offering them a life-changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and actually act is vital. You know, when students sit in their comfort zones at home, it's pretty easy to be blasé about global warming. But when they're standing in Antarctica, visibly seeing glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing right in front of their eyes, the reality of climate change becomes absolutely impossible to ignore. Part 5, the phytoplankton metaphor, the power of the microscopic. You see, Antarctica's incredibly simple ecosystem makes it the absolute perfect place to study how tiny little changes have massive, catastrophic repercussions. Let's take phytoplankton, for example. These are microscopic, single-celled marine plants. They're basically the grasses of the sea. Through the wondrous process of photosynthesis, they use the sun's energy to assimilate carbon and synthesize organic compounds. They literally sustain the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. But scientists are warning us that further depletion in the ozone layer will severely affect the activities of these tiny plants. And if the phytoplankton are affected, it will disrupt the lives of all the marine animals and birds in the region, and ultimately, it could completely devastate the global carbon cycle. Now, please grab your pens and take note of this quote, because it's incredibly important for your board exams. Take care of the small things and the big things will fall into place. The author calls this the parable of the phytoplankton. It is such a powerful metaphor for our existence. It's a gentle reminder that our massive global problems can really only be solved by respecting and protecting the microscopic foundations of our ecosystems. And finally, Part 6, Walking on the Ocean, the climax of interconnectedness. We've reached the breathtaking climax of the author's journey, which happened just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. Picture this. The academic Shokalski managed to wedge herself right into a thick, white stretch of ice. They couldn't go a single inch further, so the captain instructed all 52 passengers to climb down the gangplank. They were literally going to walk on the ocean. Imagine stepping out, all kitted up in protective gear, onto the stark whiteness that just seems to spread out forever. And right there, you see crab-eater seals sunning themselves on the ice, looking just like stray dogs resting under a banyan tree back home. Just think about the mechanics of this moment for a second. Step 1, they were walking on an ice pack that was barely a meter thick. And step 2, directly underneath that incredibly thin crust of ice was 180 meters of deep, living, breathing salt water. Standing there right on the very edge of the world, experiencing the seals and the vast deep ocean right beneath her boots, the author had this profound epiphany. It was a revelation that everything in nature truly beautifully connects. The macro and the micro, the past and the present, the ice and the humans, we are all inextricably linked together. As the author was leaving this magical place, she couldn't help but wonder about the beauty of balance on our planet. And she leaves us with a pretty haunting question to ponder. If Antarctica ever becomes the warm place it once used to be, will humanity even be around to see it? Or will we have gone the way of the dinosaurs, the mammoths, and the woolly rhinos? Who's to say? But you know, there is still hope. Spending time with high school teenagers, young people who still possess the fire and idealism to actually save the world, shows us something very important. It shows us that while a lot can happen in a million years of geological time, what a massive difference a single day of focused human action can make. The journey to the end of the Earth is so much more than a travelogue. It's an urgent warning and a message of hope. Let us all remember to take care of the small things so the big things naturally fall into place. Protect nature before it is too late. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.